Welcome to Toffee TV. It is Club Call. We are back with the Club Call. We've had a break with the World Cup and with Christmas. I've just seen the title for this, which is shocking by Ned. But there you go. Can the Toffees be saved this month?
No.
No. Even if they won every game, they couldn't be saved this month. So that to me is a very, very strange title. But there you go. You know, Ned's had a little bit of a Dwight McNeil performance today.
The
but
price of empowerment.
Yeah, there you go. Joined by John Blaine. Ped will be on at some stage. Me and him will probably do a little substitution, or if John's got to go, whatever, one of us will swap out in a bit. But if you want to call in and you're a Toffee TV Premier member, you know what to do. Click the link and have your say. Conor Crossland's gone in early. There is no way we are avoiding relegation this season.
That's not true.
There you go. You never know. Carla, call in. Come on, call in. You're a good Premier member. You know the score. Call in. Have a chat with us. We don't bite. You can get your points across, and it'll all be good. Do it. Do it. Have your say on it. John, we've been pouring over this all day, really, haven't we? Over the various guises. Where do Everton go from here? Don't say that, because there's still 22 games. Oh, so 20 games left, isn't there?
No. I think again, it's groundhog, isn't it? Because we've had the conversation countless times. It's a classic, I think, of if I was going there, I wouldn't start from here. I mean, one of the things we may have spoke about 12, 18 months ago would have been, well, we made all right dog's dinner of it in 17, 18, if you like, or thereabouts, whenever it was. Yeah. We have to wait. Time will be our friend, and some of that will unravel. And yet, in recent windows, we've thought, oh, it's starting to unravel. We better make it worse again. With the spending on players like Mopé and Dwight McNeil, which we can all have opinions, but they don't look great value, and we'll have to live with those for a bit. But what we can't do is literally keep replaying the last 12 months over and over again. And so I think the club finds itself in a really difficult situation. I mean, I don't know what the general fan base's view is on the manager. Clearly, we can throw the stats up, and we can look at how few games he wins. We can look at his apparent inability to make in-game adjustments. And basically, we can look at all the things that are wrong. Yeah. And when we were talking before on the sofa, and we talked about, or I often talk about, is he extracting best value or the best from this squad? Emphatically, he is not. To my mind, the question becomes, does that cost him his job? Yeah. Or do we find a way to help him? And I personally would always, in the businesses I've worked in, I always try and help people before I sack them. Yeah. Mainly because I'm a bit nesh, and I don't want the conscience of people with kids and all that sort of stuff having jobs.
You want to give people the best chance, don't you, surely?
I want people to have the best chance, and so if I do have to put a bullet between their eyes, I'm conscience-free. And so does that mean this manager has got a few more chances left in him? And then this game, those chances are games, aren't they? And I think the answer is probably yes.
Just pull your mic up a bit, John, please.
The answer is probably yes. Yeah. And that probably means let's wait and see what happens against Southampton, doesn't it?
It does. We've got our first caller. It's John. Pop them headphones on, John. It's Luke.
Hi, Luke.
Hello, Luke.
You all right, lads?
Yeah. Well, I say yeah. I'll be honest. I do feel quite low today, Luke.
I feel very low.
I don't really know what to say. Have you?
I had an epiphany during the World Cup, just to start watching it for what it is, game of footy. Yeah. But first of all, I just want to say it's another one of our Premier members' birthdays on Sunday, so big happy birthday to Mike Pill.
True. Mike who?
Pill.
Mike Pill, happy birthday on Sunday, one of our Premier members.
Sure, he's listening now.
Is right, Mike.
It's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Because we're just trudging over all ground, but I think he's got to be bolted, to be honest. I know the bigger problems and that. But I said he was done for me. I washed my hands of it after the League Cup game, but he was officially done for me last night.
Okay.
That Malpai pass is his legacy for me.
What was that, by the way? He was on the halfway line.
He played a 1-2 with
Pickford, didn't he? Yeah. Oh my God. Oh.
But it's just, do you know, like, I look at his backroom stuff, and it's like it's sort of the boys on tour.
Yeah.
Like he's just got his mates in, if you get me.
Yeah. Is there a worry? Is there a worry, Luke, that without being, is it xenophobic to say just because they're from the south? I don't know, but for you, because this has been asked of me a few times, if people have asked me this question, and I haven't really knew how to answer it properly. Is like, does it concern you that they're all London boys, so to speak? So they're not fully committed to where they are. That might be absolute nonsense, by the way.
Living in hotels.
Yeah, living in hotel, you know, in terms of being settled. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or to you, to just think, that's got nothing to do. It's only because a few people have asked me, and I've been like, I don't know, because surely you just want to do the best job you're doing at that time. I don't know whether they look and think, we'll do this for another few months, then we'll all bail. I don't know.
It's not where they're from. It's because they don't live here and that.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Sorry, that I've got no issue with Frank Lampard because he's from London, being Everton's manager. No, when I interviewed him, he even said the same thing. Oh, people were saying you're not a Scot. I'm not really bothered about that. But you're right. It's like, they haven't all moved up here and gone, we bought houses and we've rented a house with my family for 3 years or whatever. We know that all their families are still in London.
And yeah, it's like we've sort of banged on about. It's like we keep saying the same things. The issue is, it's if we get rid of him, getting rid of the whole staff again. We've not got staff at the club who can sort of keep on taking them on. We're getting rid of the whole regime each time and getting a new one in.
The only thing I'd say is the only thing, just to jump in, you can carry on now, Luke, sorry. The only thing I would say is that Kevin Thelwell has brought like medical staff in, which are Everton's, and something else which is Everton's. It's not the way with Benitez, who culled all the people who were there, brought his own, and then all of a sudden there was 15 members of staff walking out the door again.
All of whom you have to pay to leave.
Which one, sorry?
All of whom you have to pay to leave.
Exactly, yeah. Sorry, Luke, carry on. I just thought that just needed clarifying, that was all.
Oh, fair enough, yeah. Is he got 18 months on his contract or 6?
Lampard has got another, it was 2.5 years, wasn't it? I think. So he's got, another, where are we, 18 months, isn't it? So,
Summer next year.
Yeah, when they move into the new stadium. What can I just ask you this, Luke? Do you think he'll still be here then?
No.
Okay.
I can't see how.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just what would you do? What would you two guys do?
I'll be honest,
Right
mate.
now.
Normally I've got an answer for any question that people ask me, but I honestly don't know. I've said before, if you could say to me, if we sack Frank Lampard, all of our problems go away, I'd sack him right now. If you could say, if we keep him, everything will be fine, I'd keep him, obviously, because I want everything to be fine. But can he do better than what he's doing? I think is the big question. We've just done this on the final word. Me and John both agree he can perform better. He should be getting more out of the team.
That's what I mean, in case he's not seen that yet.
Go on, John. You give your answer. I don't know what.
No. But the context of that was, should this manager get more out of this squad?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
And the answer is, that's the word I use, Luke. Absolutely. And if that's the case, then do we really want to spend millions of pounds to get rid of this manager, to bring somebody in to do what this manager should be able to do?
Right, sorry, Ped was just waving at me before we carry on, Luke, that Everton have had a bid to take Danny Ings on loan, rejected by Aston Villa.
Yeah, I saw that this morning.
I saw someone's comment saying like we should get him a Villa fan on one of the videos.
Yeah, mad. But I think like what John's just said there, Luke, is that Everton, you'd always have to look at a manager and say, right, is he extracting the most from from this set of players.
That's the measure.
That's got to always be the measure. Could other managers get more out of this? I've seen a comment. I've seen it before. Hang on, let me just see if it's still there.
So while you're finding it, the thing with that.
Yeah, sorry, it was Canucks and Kennedy, or Kennedy Canucks, and I apologise, I've got your name the wrong way round. He says, if we don't sack Frank now, we are done. New manager can turn this around. We just have to believe.
Well, that's good. That's a good observation, because what I was about to say is, it's like injured players suddenly get better while they're injured.
Yeah.
Better as in they're better players while they're injured than when they're not. Yeah. And I think a new manager's always assumed will do a better job than the guy who looks like he's aging by the second. But you're in the danger zone there of, well, really? Yeah, because the sort of manager we'll get is one who's currently unemployed, I guess.
Or Wayne Rooney.
Oh, well, Wayne Rooney's working for DC United, but it's most likely to be someone who's unemployed, isn't it?
It's most likely, because Everton probably have to. I mean, I don't know what Wayne Rooney's contract would be like.
I'd rather hope he told DC, but if these clubs come running,
well, maybe. Listen, I think, and again, before people jump on me saying Wayne Rooney, and I know he's the second favourite.
Is he?
If Lampard was to lose his job,
favourite?
I don't know. I just seen he was the second favourite. What I would say is that if Everton had an opportunity to get Mauricio Pochettino or Thomas Tuchel, then absolutely Everton should try to do that. That's if they decide Frank Lampard isn't the right man. But when I look at
they should have been doing that for quite a while.
Well, they should have been at Twin Trackham, which is what Brighton were doing. But when I look at other candidates, it's all about a fit for a football club. It's all about what you can do with a football club.
And the squad of players you've got.
And the squad of players you've got, and whether you understand the football club. And I think when you strip away all the other stuff, Wayne Rooney becomes a serious candidate within that.
Dyche is the favourite.
Sean Dyche, well, there you go. So it's, Sean Dyche is what Sean Dyche is.
Rooney,
that was probably 5 years ago. Sean Dyche should have maybe considered for Everton, but maybe not now. But Rooney becomes a serious candidate because he's got really good experience having difficult job to do at Derby County. Give 21 debuts to academy players in his time there. Is he good enough to do Everton's job? We'll never know until he does the job.
Should do a swap deal with West Ham. Frank's coming home.
They don't like Frank Lampard, and he doesn't like them, does he?
Is a joke.
But that's the thing with Luke. I mean, you make a good point. David Moyes, if they get beat tonight by Leeds, he'll be sacked. I think that's
he's going to be watching that.
Right? I'm gonna just do everything else and not have a look at it because I just can't be. I don't want to start that already. But David Moyes is someone, and I know a lot of Evertonians that don't, maybe when Silva was sacked, David Moyes would have been the right choice then, maybe. But is it right if West Ham sack David Moyes, and West Ham are below Everton right now, and we sack Frank Lampard, we then go and take David Moyes from West Ham? That to me doesn't make any sense either.
That's a romantic.
It doesn't. It doesn't on the sort of like if you're looking at it with without looking a bit deeper. I think if you look at West Ham, he spends a lot of money, and I don't. How many of them buyers do you reckon are Moyes buyers?
I don't know. No one.
Moyes has not had a good career since he left us, with the exception of the last 18 months.
No.
So.
And he's in his. I mean, there's nothing against managers in the 60s, by the way, but he is in his 60s, so it's the energy. And again, I suppose that takes you back to a Wayne Rooney who's 37, loads of energy to do the job, or a Pochettino and Tuchel who are younger.
Sacking the manager,
but how do you get them?
Are you sacking the manager because you think, despite what the chief exec has said about how perfect he was and how he was selected and all those sorts of things?
Go on, carry on. Sorry,
people
finish
waving
your point.
Behind the camera.
Go on.
Are you sacking the manager because you need to get a manager who's going to keep us up, or sacking the manager because he's not the right guy? Full stop. In other words, if you brought Wayne Rooney in and then you go down into the Championship, are you going to be bold and say, well, actually, you know what, this guy's going to be our manager for the next 3 years, no matter what, or whatever it is, no matter what it is.
Again, that's communication, isn't it?
Of course it is.
But if it's about preservation, then probably Dyche will come into it.
But you do an Allardyce then, don't you? You give him 6 months.
Yeah, it is a tough one.
And has he sorted his argument out with Burnley and stuff yet?
I don't know. Leave him be. Right, Luke, we've got other callers, but thanks for calling in, mate, for being the first one. Look after yourself, mate. Take care.
You too.
Ta-ra,
Bye-bye.
Luke.
See you
Ta-ra,
soon.
mate.
Bye-bye.
Good call there from Luke. EFC Graham says there's been a rotten core in the club for a long, long time. Trevor Birch knew it and left as soon as possible. Needs a clear out starting at the very top. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to argue against, isn't it? Des says the club is riddled from top to bottom with people who aren't fit to do the job. Ned, sorry, who's our next caller? Okay. There you go. Matthew Ranton says new manager, same problems. Basic Trig says if they get Dyche, I'm done.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter.
Quite a lot of people are against that, aren't they? Yeah. Oh, I can hear a voice.
Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, well, Ned, you were telling me everyone was lined up. Now you're telling me they're not. Ross Ingram says Sack and Frank is only using him as a scapegoat. In my opinion, no manager comes in and keeps us up with the current squad.
We don't agree with that, do we?
No, well, we think he can get more out of it. Whether it's real, we don't know. Right, I can hear Pat in the background. I don't know why I could hear him when we were talking, but okay. Pat,
hi, Pat.
Hello, how are you?
I'm all right. I luckily didn't actually watch the game yesterday. Just watched live.
Very lucky one. Very lucky, Pat.
Oh, so I have 2 points, and I'll let the others get on.
Go on, mate.
Is that thinking about our situation financially, I think FFP is just a BS shortcut way of having a wage cap without having a real wage cap. The only thing that it does, or whatever the PPS, whatever it's called, allows is like rich teams to become richer, and then the up-and-comers or teams that have had trouble have to scrape and claw for every ounce of achievement. If you want a system that actually promotes financial health and creates parity, then just bite the bullet and do an actual wage cap. This system is trash and essentially designs, if you can just make money through essentially being already an established money-making team, especially through, being at the top of the table, winning the league, going into the Champions League, then you can stay up there forever. And I don't think that's very healthy for the league. And you've seen once a Fulham or a Brentford or a Brighton or where we find ourselves do find good players and do have them, or Leicester, for example, they just get raided by anyone who has money. Because this isn't a system that seems to be designed to either A, make sure teams are financially healthy and sustainable, or create parity, which is, I guess if you're going to call it financial fair play, isn't that the idea that you're creating parity?
Well, it's dressed up, isn't it? It's dressed up that is creating financial parity for everyone, but the reality is it isn't, because the top six, the big six, not necessarily the top six, pulled the ladder up behind them when Man City were doing what they were doing. And John, you're better placed than me to answer this, but
it's an interesting one,
difficult
because
one, isn't it?
I mean, what Pat's talking about is a salary cap, I guess. Yeah. That would have to be pan-European, minimally, because if one country does it, then it doesn't make it. It's like high pressing, only one guy goes. Yeah. I think that the natural outcome, which might be amenable to North American owners in particular, would be if you can have a salary cap that could actually work, then a lot of these football clubs, depending on where you draw the line on the cap, would become profitable. And owners could take the money out. So the money, instead of going into agents' pockets, players' pockets, transfer fees pockets, and so on, would end up in the owners' pockets.
Yeah.
I mean, some algorithms around transfer fees might be another way of doing it, or maybe you do both. But I think you still end up with, does that ultimately devalue broadcast rights and the like? Because your Sky Sports and BT or whoever it might be in the UK and across the world go, well, actually, we don't have to bid as much now because the actual cost of running a football club has gone down, and everything just resets at a lower level.
Yeah,
the best players still get paid the most money. Lots of players, pretty much the average ones, I guess, wouldn't get the crazy salaries they get now, which maybe is not a bad thing. But I'm not sure it would make a huge amount of difference to the disparity between those who are in the Champions League every single season and those who aspire to be. So it's not easy.
It's really difficult.
I could see that. It's just, again, because of my American perspective, it ends up becoming like, well, the NFL is one of the most profitable sporting leagues in the world, and they have a hard salary cap. But also they can cut people whenever they want and whatever. And I assume they could do something with signing bonuses again. Who knows? Again, I agree. I just think my issue with it is it seems like a BS way of doing a salary cap that actually does none of the things that a salary cap is intended to do. It only basically, like Baz just said, pulls up the ladder.
No, I think you're right, Pat. I think that they, whoever they were, and I guess if we're talking FFP, then it's UEFA, that they started off with, we can't have this runaway train and run the risk of clubs going out of business with any regularity, but you might say in a competitive world it's the survival of the fittest, blah blah, and they ended up with a fudge because ultimately it's negotiated rather than imposed. But I'm not convinced there's any appetite for trying to fix it, and we still expect, don't we, or do we, FFP to change a little bit. But once you're in that lovely loop of you've got all the commercial income, we're talking Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool, Man City, Man United, and clearly they'll extend or try to extend the Champions League so that more of their favourites can play in it with greater regularity, and it'd be interesting to see if the FIFA competitor to that gets off the ground. And so they're all if buts, really, aren't they? But I think you're right. I would agree with your main point, which is it's a fudge. That they haven't got the testicular to put in a real hard salary cap in. Therefore, they played round the edges, and that means it's inevitably a bit vague in how it's been documented, which means as soon as you do find someone who appears to have transgressed big style, they have hugely deep pockets for lawyers, and the average fan might say they get away with it anyway. And the net result is them and us, or haves and have-nots rather.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sadly, we find ourselves on the have-nots side.
And so I think there is some at least hope in that the Bundesliga doesn't seem to be willing to get rid of 50+1, which hurts them in terms of competing with other leagues. But it does mean you've seen teams like Schalke drop into the Zweite Bundesliga and come back up, and they're okay because it's not this gigantic disaster. Like if we went down in 94 or 98, it would have been bad. It would have been very bad, don't get me wrong, but it would not have been the disaster it is now, and we could have come back up relatively quickly. Now if we go back down, we could be like Leeds or Forest.
Easily.
Oh, okay. I have a whole point about Frank, but I think I've taken up enough of the time. I just thought he does things good pregame, but like you guys have said early in this video call, club call, he cannot change in the middle of the game or change his life, save his life. Time and time again, it hurts us. He puts out a clever first half strategy that looks like it's working, and he gets ahead of himself. He puts the cart in front of the horse, thinks that Palace game showed we could play with people, but instead Ben Godfrey does a good job in Erling Haaland, and who's on the bench? Ben Godfrey.
I'd like to know. Why Ben Godfrey was on the bench last night. Was he injured? Was he effects of Saturday? If so, play Yeremina. Keep what
both
you
were
did
on the bench. Neither became one of the 5 subs, but you might understand because we were 4-0 down. So hey,
I just think it's just mad. But listen, it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is what
Good
it
stuff,
is.
Pat.
Pat, excellent call, mate.
Have a good one.
Where are you, Pat? By the way, before you go,
St. Louis.
Yeah, nice place.
Top man. Pat, take care, mate. We've got Rob next. Okay. Mike Cosgrove's fuming because you haven't sorted him out, hasn't it? Rob, are you there? Rob? Hello, Rob?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Rob.
You there, Rob?
Hello, mate. What's your point? What do you want to make? Hello, can you hear us? Hello, Rob? Hello, Rob?
We can't hear Rob now.
Yeah, it's a little sketchy.
Oh, there you go.
That's down to Ned. If it's a little...
Can
Go on, Rob. What's your point? Go on, mate.
Something Pat just said a bit ago.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on, like, after the City game with the formation, we got a good point away from home against a really good team. Why did he change the formation? I just can't get my head around it.
If you find anyone who knows, can you let us know?
Yeah.
Really, because, absolutely spot on. It just doesn't compute at all. Doesn't compute why he changed the formation. And we talked earlier about surely it was just a matter of dropping someone in for an Arna and going again, and he didn't. And he got burnt.
Surely that replacement for Onana was Decore, not Davis.
We debated this. I admit I was on the Davis side and Baz was on the Decore side.
I don't think either of them were with
Yeah.
the right call anyway.
No, but they were the choices.
They were the choices, weren't they? I did say, unless he was really bold and went with Isaac Price.
Yes, indeed, you
But
did.
he was never gone. Other managers have done it, but he wasn't going to do it. Fair play. But I just don't understand why he didn't just, like you said, Rob, why didn't he just keep the same formation? If Ben Godfrey, I want to know what was wrong with Ben Godfrey.
Well, for me,
Go on, mate.
well, that's something we don't know. But for me, what I want to point out is that it's about confidence. When you're down there, it's about building confidence and saying, you can do this, you can do it. You've got to believe in yourself. And we got a point away from City, and I think, yes, this is it. This is the time we build on this. We become hard to beat. We don't concede lots of goals. We defend well. And you can build on that. And
Spot
then
on.
it just changes at the first game, and I just can't. I can't understand it.
Yeah, from the terrace, it looks misguided. And again, maybe some of the journalists who are accredited can ask him the question, why didn't you do the same thing again? But they won't, will they? Because the moment will pass and it'll all be about what you're doing in the next game rather than what happened in the last one.
Yeah,
if you've seen his press conference after the game, it was
there's many
down,
questions which...
Go on, Rob.
There's a lot of questions like where's Holgate, where's Keane? Apparently Yeremina only had what's the word? I've forgotten the word now.
I think what you're saying is
Yeremina wasn't injured, was he?
No, he was. Yeah, I mean he was sub last night, so
he was sick,
and he was warming up. He was ill, wasn't he? Which is apparently why he missed the City game.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then you just go like for like, don't you? If Ben Godfrey's not fit, you go right. Ben's out. We're going to play Seamus Coleman as a third centre back, or we're going to play Yeremina or Mason Holgate, whatever. Michael Keane was injured, so he wasn't involved. And you just try to keep things the same as what you did a couple of days ago, and the players kind of know what they're doing. You're nice and solid. You've got a point. If the worst comes to the worst, you pick another point up and you move on.
Yeah.
And at least you're playing with a structure, and at least you're going.
And that's exactly what you're saying, isn't it? It's confidence building. You've
just done it
against Man City. Go do it again.
Exactly.
I'm with you, Robert, and I think probably most Evertonians are today are just saying. Can hear me? I can hear myself. But no, I'm with you, Rob. I think it's just strange that he made that call instead of just going, you know what? Let's be durable for the next month. Let's stick in games. Let's create chances when we can. Let's try and give Dominic something to go after. And he's ripped it all up.
Yeah, the concern there then, if people are considering changing the manager, is he's not learning lessons, is he? Remember what I said about my mate Alan, who's a Derby County fan, and so, home and away type stuff, that he's prone to random selection decisions.
Lampard, yeah.
And that's from his Derby days, eh?
Yeah. No, I think it's... Listen, it is what it is, isn't it? We just look and go... I've said to you, Frank Lampard isn't the main reason why Everton are where they are. In terms of a football club, we know it runs deeper and higher than that. But no matter what Frank Lampard says, I think he's only won 8 games as Everton manager in the Premier League. I think, might be wrong on that, it might be a little bit more. But he's certainly only won 3 matches this season, hasn't he? He's won 3 games of football this season, and we're in January.
It's a dead simple question. Is he extracting the most he can from this squad? If the answer to that is yes, and you think that actually you're not extracting all that those players can do, then he has to go. Because he's taken them as far as he can take them. But if he can, because he's got those flaws of messing around with formations, particularly home versus away, that sort of stuff, making it a bit too obvious and making us too easy to play against, then someone either needs to help him, if you like, walk the talk and stick to what works and give some confidence to players that, the pep talk, no pun, for last night's game should have been, you've done it against City, you can do it against this lot. Let's be patient, let's be difficult to get, in behind and stuff like that. And when we get that one chance, which we will get, take it. And he didn't. I mean, players are human beings as well, like the rest of us. I do wonder what some of them were thinking when they said, well, why have we changed it? But they don't say to the manager, do they, why have we changed it, boss? Because he said, well, you can go on the bench if you don't like it. And so there's still very much an old-fashioned behavioural thing there, isn't there, of no one challenges the manager.
He's had his record.
Or he does get challenged and doesn't listen.
Frank Lampard's Everton record is 41 games in charge in all competitions. They've won 12, drawn 8, and lost.
Win ratio's
lost
29.
21.
Yeah, win ratio's 29%, worse than any of the managers that we've sacked since Martinez come along, since Mashiri came along. So Martinez onwards, most of the others were in the 40s and got sacked. In fact, the only one not in the 40s was Benitez. So statistically.
But like I said, no one could. I don't think anyone could seriously sit here and lay all the blame on Frank Lampard.
No.
But he's got, like John's just said, the reality is he getting enough out of it, or isn't he? It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Anything else to say, Rob, before we move on? No, Rob's gone.
No.
Oh,
just wanted
to. Sorry, mate.
I just wanted to put that point out about confidence.
Yeah.
Same formation.
I'm totally agree with you, mate. I totally agree. Stay in games. All right, Rob, take care, mate.
Yeah, keep up the good work.
Cheers, pal.
Cheers,
take
mate.
care. Ta-ra now.
Thanks, mate.
Bye, mate. Ned, have we got someone else lined up, have we? Is there? Okay, let's go ahead, Ned. Let's start turning these round. Peg can have a little go in a minute. Is there more? No. Oh, I thought you were coming with
you were giving
secret
news out while we're doing this.
Well, I am. I'm doing the socials.
Oh, yeah. So we just read our socials and we'll see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What about the next one, Ned?
Get the next one on then. Mike's probably doing Turkey Hair TV. Let's move on.
Come on, Mike. Where are you? Who've we got, Ned?
Yeah, he's not talking. Right, well, let's get the next one on then.
Okay, this is riveting, isn't it? Let's
Come on, then.
Oh yeah, we've got someone, I think.
Yeah, we can have rustling paper.
It's Sonny. Okay, sound. Sonny, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, mate.
Yeah, I just want to talk about, I'm not going to go into the specifics of the game yesterday because I think you've covered that enough and we all have, but
yeah,
it's depressing as well.
Mitoma,
okay, yeah.
And you look at how they recruited him. He
Yeah.
got him from Japan, went on loan out at Belgium for a year.
That's right, yeah.
He did the same with that Undav to obviously less success, but still, if you look how they're recruiting their players and how they're going about it, and then you look at us and we just go and get McNeil from Burnley.
Yeah.
It's just the lack of infrastructure in the club and expertise is just terrible to see, and how short-sighted we are. The myopia in the ballroom is just a disgrace, and there's just been a consistent decline over the past few decades, and I just can't understand how it's been going on. I just want to know what your thoughts are in terms of how we could sort of model our recruitment around the likes of what Brighton and Brentford are doing.
Well, I mean, Brighton's whole starting 11 was cheaper than Iwobi last night. So, and that's not Alex Iwobi's fault, and he's done quite well of late, but that's just a real fact of what Everton have done since Farhad Mashiri coming. In terms of how we can model it on Brighton or Brentford, or certainly And we can't ignore Liverpool have done this quite well as well. But you start using data properly. Start and be braver. Be braver. You see a player, you look at it. Everton should be looking and going, right, and this is what they should have been doing for 4 months, right? And they haven't. But they should be looking, going, right, we need a winger who's got these attributes. He's quick, he's strong, blah, blah, blah. Put them in their database. Who comes up, spits out names. Here's one. He plays in France or Germany or Belgium.
Or Japan.
Or wherever. Go and speak to that football club and go, we are interested in X and we were prepared. How much do you want for them? Blah, 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 blah. And those conversations should have been going on in September and October and November, so that when the window opened, Everton were ready to. Or Everton really, from a really good PR point of view, should have had someone by the tree like that on Christmas Eve going, here's our new winger or here's our new centre forward who's joining a football club on January the 1st, blah, blah, blah. And it's about being, John, it's about being brave, isn't it? Because we can't always just go, we need a midfielder. Let's just get one who played in the Premier League.
You know what? Yeah, brave. We can debate what brave means, but
yeah.
I think sometimes, you know, the old Sherlock things, when you're trying to exclude all the things, it's not what's left, you know? I do wonder whether it's not a lack of braveness, it's a lack of decisiveness. I do wonder how the club makes decisions on bringing players in. So if we suspend our personal or collective bigotry for a minute, and pretend that our recruitment processes are pretty okay. Some of the, no disrespect, Baz, but you seem to know a hell of a lot of players that would fit the profile of what we think we need. So let's just be generous and assume that so does our football club. But if we contact a club or an agent to say, we quite like this Barry Cass bloke, and they go, £5 million then, or whatever.
Yeah.
And we go, oh, we'll get back to you on that one. Yeah. And who's having that initial conversation? Thelwell or somebody who works for him. Let's pretend it's someone who works for them. Say, hey, we've got a bite here. They're interested.
Yeah.
Oh, good, says Kevin. So, well, they want more than £5 million. Oh, nice. Well, I'll have a word with Denise then.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have a word with Bill. I'll have a word with Farhad. Let's double, triple, quadruple check that everything's all lined up. And we go back and we go, yeah, okay, 6. Sorry, lad, we've just sold him for 8 while you've been thinking about it. And I do wonder how many players, you at the live at 1 o'clock or whatever it was, 1:30, you, Ped, were having this conversation. And we're linked with all these players. Being linked is great.
Yeah.
It's getting them we want.
Yeah.
You know, we are linked with Danny Ings on loan. Guess what? Villa, very, very surprisingly, say no.
Yeah.
But you can have him on permanent if you want.
Yeah.
So we're looking at 20-odd...
30.
Is he 30?
30.
I was going to say late 20s.
30 with 2 cruciate knee ligaments.
I was going to say a 30-ish year old player with Premier League experience who is ageing, who they don't need, they're not going to use, but they won't let him. They don't need the wages off the books enough
to let him go on loan
when they know we're desperate. Now, Danny Ings is the sort of player you get on loan on the last day, not now.
Yeah,
because they'll think, well, at least we'll save the wages. You know, so just tells you where we think we're shopping.
It's terrifying.
And maybe in parallel we're buying players as well. Who knows? But let's see. Yeah, let's see.
Absolutely terrifying.
But it is, frustrating as hell.
Absolutely. Go on, Sonny.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me, because even if we're looking at Everton just as a business, you know, the industry's not football, it's something else. The better you do in terms of the league and getting far in cup competitions, you're making more money, and you can sell players on for more money. So it's in the club's best interest to do better from a footballing perspective, because if you do better in a footballing point, you're doing better in the business aspect of it as well, because you're bringing more revenue into the club. So why are we not pushing in to bring in the best people on the ballroom as well as the pitch? Lampard, for me, he's just not the answer. People say, oh, well, look at the players you've got to work with. Ultimately, his job is to coach the players, make them better. You know, we know they're not great, we know they're not talented, but he's got to work with what he's got. And it just seems there's too many excuses, too much pointing the finger at other people. There's no accountability and responsibility. And I think really we're at the point now where we need organised protests and demonstrations against the hierarchy in this club, because again, like I said before, we are on a continuous decline, and the only way is relegation if something doesn't change very, very soon. And it's terrifying to think that the club the size of ours could potentially be lost, and we'll never be the same.
I don't think I hear what you're saying. I couldn't disagree with it really.
No.
But I don't think, well, maybe someone can correct me, go find me a football club that wiped its board out mid-season.
Yeah, I
you know what I
agree.
mean? But having said that, so there is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Once the window's closed, which might be too late, there are people on the non-sporting side who you could let go and not necessarily notice the difference. Because actually, the only thing that from Feb 1 onwards that matters is what goes on the sporting side. Yeah. So that's Kev's patch then. The rest of it, notwithstanding the stadium, let's hope, Colin Chong knows what he's doing on that one. So if you're going to do board level changes, then you either do them in the closed season, don't you? But you can start the closed season earlier than that if you really feel the need. And we see that with clubs when they're doing change, that the closed season isn't long enough, so you start it before the end of the season.
Start it before, yeah. Something needs to change. I think it is just Groundhog Day, and we just seem to be stuck in a cul-de-sac. We don't really seem to go forward. We just go round in circles. We continually
get 94% of the stock, so he can do what he wants.
Yeah. Okay. No, I get that. Listen,
and he's had 5-6 years.
7 this year, isn't it?
Yeah, in March, yeah. But he's had all those years to make the sort of changes which were, and people like me, particularly when I was doing EBM, we were advocating all those years ago, and they just haven't happened. And when you talk about organised protests, I think the key word there is organised, because they're not easy to organise, are they? They're not easy to get everybody pulling in the same direction. It's quite easy to get media attention.
Yeah.
Because the media, particularly in a digital age, are desperate for content.
Of course they are, yeah.
But it needs to be sustained and it needs to be focused. And if somebody has a campaign that says we need sack the board, because people was you heard, if you're at the ground last night you heard it, right?
Yeah.
But the obvious question to that, if you heard it, is when. And is the board Bill, Denise, Grant, and Graham? That's the board. So we're saying all of them go. So, okay, who replaces them then? And that's a bit like sacking the manager. Yeah. You can't take them out until you know who's going to walk through the door and take it over again. But I think if you believe your own propaganda, I'm talking to Mashiri, I suppose now. Yeah. If you believe the propaganda that you've been given that says the sporting side is on a solid footing and it is going to take time for us to see that, then you're basically saying logically, and this is what we used to say on EBM, the sporting director is effectively the chief exec of the sporting side. Yeah?
Yeah.
Therefore, the sporting side isn't going to be adversely impacted by dealing with the structural challenges in the non-sporting side, surely? Unless you fear that the stadium has got a problem, because it's so intimately involved with one or two individuals. So I don't think actually the timing is an inhibitor to change right now, because we're only 2 or 3 weeks away when you can pretty much do what you want, as long as you don't impact the sporting side. But the owner doesn't appear to have had the appetite to make the board stronger over the last. No. Well, I say the appetite. I don't think necessarily bringing in people's nephews and Keith Harris and the like necessarily made it stronger, or Ryzantsev. But numerically, we're as small as we've been in all that time, and that board does need help, if only because people like Ken Wright are ill and they're not going to be there all the time. And then you're down to 3, and one of those is a non-exec there to give sporting advice, even though you've got a director of sport. I don't get it, right? So it's broken, and it needs to be fixed. And anyone within the club who doesn't think it's broken are part of the problem.
Yeah.
Simple.
Here.
It's not nice, but it's simple.
Here. Sonny, cheers,
thanks for that,
mate.
Sonny. You really come up with a
good one. Cheers, mate. Yeah. Take care. All right.
I think
later.
Everyone should tell us where they are when they come on.
Yeah. Paul's ready to go. Who? Paul. Let's go. Hello, Paul.
Hi, Paul.
All right, gents. Is okay?
Yeah. Oh, well, as okay as we can be after last night.
Where are you, Paul? Antarctic, Brazil.
very wet, Wallacey.
Oh,
There you go.
It's raining
Fair.
there as well. Then.
Listen,
Yeah.
fair
It's all
play.
right, lad.
It's probably
wet.
the same
raining
weather
over
as
here,
Antarctica.
Yeah,
What's
there
your
probably is.
point, Paul? What do you want to say?
Posh side of town. Yeah.
Ah, it's not too
Unless
bad.
it's
yeah,
Birkenhead,
not too
mate.
bad. Just a quick observation, just from my seat last night up at Gladys Street, and I think last night was the first time I've really sat there, because I think you'd always think give Lampard a bit of time, the players are bedding in, new idea, whatever.
Yeah.
I think last night was the first time where I've sat and watched the team completely out players to the point of our players didn't know where they were on the pitch.
Yeah.
Literally chasing shadows.
Yeah.
You're seeing them looking round. They didn't know who was running in behind. Who was going side to side. And I think for the first time last night, I sat in my seat and thought, we are really in deep.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can see teams who watch videos and analyse the next opponent and look at Everton and go, all you need to do, just literally overwhelm them, down the sides, through the middle. They'll open up. You'll get all the chances you want. And literally, that's what it was like last night. At will. We'll just walk through you.
Yeah.
You're off for nothing. You don't run. You don't overlap. You don't tackle. You don't sprint. You don't try. And I think last night was the first time I'd have sat there in my seat and thought, we are in real trouble here. And I just don't think the players... I've watched previous videos with yourselves, and I think Ped's made the point, Baz, and I think you have as well. Those players are just not good. I mean, Dwight McNeil, I know we've gone in on the lad. I sat there last night, I actually felt sorry for him. He didn't know where he was.
No,
he
no.
didn't know where he was.
No. Totally
you know
lost,
what I mean?
yeah.
He was lost on the pitch, and I looked at him and I thought, I feel sorry for you. Then from that same angle, I'm watching Ella Sims warming up and stuff like that. Just get the lad on. If we can just go route one, just for half an hour, stick him up with DCL and just lob it up front.
Yeah. There's this. Do you find that there's this perception that we want to see tremendous football and we're the hardest fan base to please, and it's got to be all of this passing out from the back? Because for me, right now, I just want results. And results to me would be having a look at your team and going, like, can we do this? Surely he's got 6 coaches or 5 coaches. Did they, when they have their meetings, do they sit down and go, there's nobody in their meetings go, you know what, Gaffer, we can't pass the ball out. These players are crap. Or these players aren't really good at doing that. So you're playing against a possession-based team who have been doing this for 4 years under Graham Potter. They brought the Zerbian. You're absolutely right. Why, even if I don't understand why he changed the formation, but we've gone over that. But at 1-0 at half-time, why didn't he go, you know what, Dom's on his own here. Let's go a little bit route one. Get Ellis Sims alongside them. And let's knock a few long balls in behind.
Yeah.
You know,
let's
and see.
Them, let's do anything.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's see if we can pick the bits up. Yeah. I don't understand it, mate, honestly. And he could have put Damari, even if he didn't want to put Sims on straight away, he could have gone, well, we'll go with, let's get another defender on, we'll go 3-5-2. That's not negative because we'll push Patterson up. And let's knock a few long balls into Dom and get Damari picking the bits up. If that isn't really working, let's go for pure physical power with Sims then and see if we can do that.
Honestly, I'm sitting there last night thinking, obviously it's not working. We're overwhelmed in every single department. We were second best. You know, let's just go for let's change it. You know, I think we always use the word snide, don't we? A few snidey players. Even if they threw more playing Sims on and just went like, just launch it up front and let's see if we can get a few scraps up there. Because we're losing everything else. You know what I mean? So we may as well just go. But you're sitting there going,
what is going on?
I'm just a fan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you've watched enough of. You're watching us, so you know. We know what's a good side and what isn't a good side, don't we? And we know what we're doing as a team and what the opposition are doing as a team. And people can say now, go, "Oh, just a fan or whatever," but no one scrutinises your own club like you do.
That's right.
You know, and that's you're up and down all over the country.
Yeah, but we all get 10 or 15 minutes, depending on what you do with your time, to sit and stand around with the people who are around us saying, what do we think, all that sort of stuff.
Of course,
And the debates around me were, who's he going to bring on? Not, shall we bring
someone
on?
We were the same,
Who? You know, and how many to
how
make,
many are getting
2 or
hooked
3,
here?
You know, that sort of thing. And then you see them coming out to warm up and you're thinking, oh, can I get some clue as to what's going on?
But they're all got the snoods on
and
all that.
You go, he's not going to make any bloody changes.
Yeah.
And I think,
unbelievable.
Yeah, that's the best word, unbelievable. And then by the time he gets to his textbook 60 minutes, it's too late.
Honestly,
yeah,
it's madness. It's madness.
Ellis Sims is thinking, you
well,
brought
what would you do? What would you do, mate? What would you do? Because I keep saying it, and I hope people don't think that I'm missing the point over Frank. Because listen, I've said before, I don't know why he changed it. For me, he's piled loads of pressure on himself in the last 2 home games. He's brought it on himself and Bournemouth away in the cup, certainly. But it isn't obviously all his fault. The issues are above him, and have been for years as well. And John touched on it before with Mashir. He's had 7 years to make changes and hasn't. But where are you with the manager right now? 1 win in 11, lost 4 home games on the run. I can't remember us losing 4 home games. I don't even think we lost 4 home games on the run last season.
No, they won 3 times away on the bounce for the first time ever yesterday.
Did they?
Yeah.
Incredible. So where are you, mate? Where are you with
opposite direction to us?
Yeah.
But you know what, gents? I think I was 100%. I don't think I've wanted the manager to succeed as much as I've wanted Frank.
Don't be
to be honest with you,
just tell us.
in a while. But I think he lost me yesterday because I'd settle for a couple of, and I know we want to see some kind of like imprinted style on our play and whatever. But I think I'd take, and honestly, I really would, a couple of seasons of just basic football under someone like Sam Allardyce. I'm sorry. I wanted Sam Allardyce.
I was with you. I was with you till you said that name.
He said like. He said like.
But he didn't say Martinez, so I'm still in with him. Go on, carry on.
I just take it where, we're grinding out 1-0s here and there. We're picking up draws away. We're hard to beat. We've got players who'll run through walls for us. Players who you can physically see it trying. I mean, last night, don't get me wrong, I know a few people that, but I watched Cody and Tarkovsky because obviously we were shooting at the Gladys Street then in the second half, Brighton, and they were at each other, for about 30-35 minutes of the half, Pickford, Cody and Tarkovsky.
Seeing Pickford getting involved.
They were at each other, and they were losing the men every 5 seconds, and it's what's in front of them. Tom Davis's days are done.
Yeah, I think so.
No one expects him to get
Corey,
a contract,
to me, doesn't
same,
look interested.
Yeah.
No,
he knows he's going this window, doesn't he?
Yeah.
With a bit of luck, he does, John. You know what I mean? I think a few players need to go this window because they're showing now. You know what I mean? That they're not there for the cause. I think Tom has a little go, but I think his days are numbered. I'm looking at other players there. McNeil, I'm going to be stuck with him, aren't we? It's going to be another person who was stuck with on the wage bill. And there's others of the like, and it sickens me. It's just but I would set for just 1 or 2 seasons of, I don't know.
We're not even asking for trophies anymore, are we? But just asking to go the game, win some home games, like 2 or 3-0 and be mid-table. I can't believe I'm saying that as what I want, but that's where I am. I take me lad the match and I'm like...
That's called stability, isn't it?
Yeah, just stability. It's not even a big thing in this league. Don't let anybody kid you. This league isn't great. No. Without being, and I'm not being disrespectful to Newcastle at all, they were in relegation trouble a year ago. They are second in the league now because by getting organised. Right? So don't let anybody kid you that this league is difficult. If you get organised and you get a threat at the top end of the pitch, you're basically in a fight for Europe in this league.
Yeah.
And Everton have gone the other way. Everton have got goals out the door. Different styles, different mashup. People misunderstanding what we need. And that's why we're where we are. Oh, God.
If there's a magic wand, where we can have someone who will just get these players on, the same page. Literally, look, we're going to grind out a result here in that home. We'll take these 1-0, 2-0, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm done with Frank now. Yeah, I think.
All right. Let's move. Nice one for your call, mate. Take it easy.
Thanks for sharing.
All right, take care. Ta-ra, pal.
Ta-ra.
Bye-bye.
Before we move on, just a couple of points. The Blues' question for Baz: do you think we could ever convince the Piv to join Everton? He's a Blue, works in the lower leagues. Never mind convincing. I don't know, mate. I
don't think
Andy would be massively frustrated with what Everton do. He would be. Andy would, put it this way, I would give Andy 50 million and go on, mate. That, and he'd bring Everton 8 or 9 players in who massively would improve the squad immediately. But we have other people. We had someone now in recruitment who'd left the club and is back. So there you go. And another one was Stephen Penton says loan bid for Danny Ings. We are scraping the barrel. What a joke of a football club. And JS says Dom King linking us to Martinez. If that happens, I'm walking away from football. If Everton even considered Roberto Martinez again, it'd be crazy. A fella who took them to court. That should end any association you have with anybody. But it's Everton, and you know the score.
Does he get his tickets though?
He might get his tickets if he's nice. Do you know what I mean? But there you go. Wanderlust says, is it possible for us to do in Newcastle? Well, it would have been possible to get organised. If we'd have got organised and maybe got players who we needed, and we've just got consistency, then of course, because Newcastle were absolutely dire last January. So it would be possible. But the question really should be, do you think we can do in Newcastle? And I would answer, no, not at all. That would be the answer.
Because of the current leadership?
Yeah, because John, honestly,
yeah,
the Danny Ings thing, right, you are absolutely spot on. If Everton would have bought Wahi, who's a young striker in France, like Montpellier, and Raziani from Almeria, and we'd have got towards the end of the window and Frank had gone, one more we could do it.
And I could do with some experience.
Danny Ings is available, yeah, no issue, because we bought the younger one who we're trying to develop. We bought a fast winger who we're trying to develop. Let's get this fella in on deadline day, once out of Villa. We'll give him a chance. Brilliant. You just said, they're not deals you try to do on the 4th of January. It's nonsense. That to me is nonsense. That to me is, we're getting we're after a 30. Danny Ings can score goals, by the way, right? Yeah. He can score goals. I'm not denying that. But the lad isn't someone who we're banging it over top and he's lightning. The lad's not going to pick a ball up, drop 3 shoulders and bend it in. He's a 30. It'd just be another Maupai, only he's actually better in front of goal. Mm. So what, are we now going to play 2 up front? Because he doesn't replace Dom in a
true.
1.
That's true.
So this is the mishmash.
Where's the plan?
Thinking. That's why I'm frustrated. Andy McGregor, I know, I'm just saying, I'm using young attacking talent. Anyway, let's speak to Paddy. Paddy, how are you?
Pretty good, thanks.
You're better than us then. Well, go on, mate. What's your point?
Well, a couple of points, really.
Yeah, go on, mate.
First, I think someone at Everton has to make a decision. They either have to back Lampard or they have to sack him. They can't just leave it as it is.
No, I agree with you, mate.
That's right.
Because that's my first point. Personally, I don't think he's going to do anything. But if he do that, at least it's a decision being made. The other thing is, if they do get rid of Lampard, let's not do the same old thing and go for the same old names or the obvious things. Why not be there and, I don't know, maybe appoint someone doing well in like the lower leagues who would look at Everton as a big job and look at Everton as an opportunity to do something. The last time we did that, we had some success. This parade, let's get the latest name, the easiest name. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked. And especially as we keep going for the same, we seem to have the same conundrum sorts of recruitment. And when people go, oh, there's no good managers out there in the lower leagues, go to Ipswich, the likes of Kieran McKenna, the likes of Plymouth, Stephen Schumacher, and the likes of Ryan Lowe, the Preston North End. They're all doing fantastic and really are probably Premiership managers and waiting if someone gives them the chance. And if we can, I don't get why we don't approach management recruitment the same way we should approach player recruitment and look at it as a long-term plan.
Yeah, Paddy, listen, obviously good mates with Andy McGregor, who deals in football, a PIV, as you'd know. And they do that succession plan. A lot of clubs do it. Brighton do it. Brighton didn't go, oh, Graham Potter's walking out the door.
What shall we do?
So should we get Sean Dyche? Because he plays the same way he's getting. Nobody went, we're losing Graham Potter. Who's available who we can get, who plays a similar style, so we don't have to rip up the playbook.
I think they went, who's top of our list?
Exactly, but they had a list.
That's what I mean already.
Right, so if Everton, imagine now if Everton...
We must have one.
Imagine if Everton go, right, we're going to sack Frank Lampard. Everton would then, and this would come out of the football club, because it has in the past, we're beginning our manager search today. They wouldn't go, we've got a list of people who we want to speak to, as in, because we had to plan for this, because it was looking likely. You should always be going, you've had this a million times, but we'd always be saying, wouldn't we, this is looking like it might go the other way, so who do we want? Who are we keeping an eye on? I've seen an interview with Dan Ashworth when he was at Brighton. He was like, we've got a list of 3 or 4 managers who we're keeping an eye on. They might never ever come to anything, because Graham Potter might stay. This was before Potter went. This was last year before he went to Newcastle.
It's 101.
It's the same thing.
It's 101 succession planning. 101.
I don't think Everton do succession. Well, they don't do succession planning.
They must. They must.
I don't think they do, John, honestly.
There's no evidence.
They do it very badly.
Yeah. You're right, Paddy.
Because I don't even get the recruitment and all. I don't get how we knew we needed players at the start, but not scoring goals. Okay, I don't get this. Okay, it might not be, but even like things. Okay, if there's no money in the budget, well, invite some free agents for trials. Okay, it might not work out, but you never know. You might find that player who score you 7 or 8 goals that might keep you up.
But you can. The thing is, Paddy, if you do your data and you look around,
if you know what you're looking for,
and you know what you're looking for, and also if you're talking about money, then at some stage Everton have to look and go, what is it worth if we actually get relegated? That's going to destroy us. So therefore, I say gamble. John would say no. You take a calculated risk. Yeah. Everton should look and go, if we go down, he goes. We've got players on long-term contracts. It's going to kill us. Really, it's going to change the way we play. Funding becomes more difficult for the stadium. Blah, de, blah, de, blah. If we actually spend 50 million this window and we kind of say we stay up, we move up the table, it's worth 2 million. If Everton could finish 5 more places above the 10 million comes in, we'll sell Anthony Gordon or we'll sell Jordan Pickford or whoever in the summer, and we restructure it then, because that's what it's about. We get another season in the Premier League, then we're into the Everton new stadium, Bramley Moor Dock. That's planning. That is planning.
That's planning with assumptions. Which is what all plans should are about, basically.
We just seem to go, what do we do? And it might not be like that, but we're never communicated to, so we don't know what it's like. We have to take the manager when he's just come off the back of a drubbing, and we go, are you trying to bring players in? Well, say, of course we are. But there's no one's come out going, this is what we're planning to do this window, and there's nothing, because Everton seem to be. And I get people might be shouting at the screen going, what club tells you what they're going to do? But with no communication from our director of football, to me, it just seems like there's no...
See, I think you're talking about press conferences where managers are under pressure. Right? Yeah. Perfectly acceptable stock response is, we know what we need.
Yeah.
And if he wants to be a bit more obvious, Kevin knows what we need. We're in total agreement. He's on it.
Yeah.
Go ask Kev.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think then that Kevin should have done something with Everton website then? If you don't want to do anything with media or just want to do anything,
I think he should do it with the media.
Well, he should. But if he didn't, Everton, the least that could happen is he could do almost, this is what we plan to do in the transfer.
I've never heard him, so I don't know whether he's a decent...
He done one when he was unveiled. That was
it. But it's a take.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't know how, we know, for example, based on the general meetings that, and it's a prepped thing, that Brands was quite articulate.
He was,
and he could talk candidly and bluntly almost, and that's what you want out of the person in that role. And they should be consummate in being able to be like that, where you think they're telling you what they're doing, and they're not really, right? Politicians and any senior people in big companies, they can all do it because they do the media training and all those sorts of things. But at least we would hear the director of football saying, we know what we need. But he could also attach to that, but we're not going to get held hostage to fortune.
Of course.
We have to think ahead.
We've been planning this since September.
Yeah, we're not planning to get relegated, but inevitably it impacts on decision making. That might be the term of contract that we give, the amount of salary that we give, the age groups we're interested in. But you've said you've done that said the same thing multiple times today. Their starting 11 cost less than Iwobi. So all your risks goes down as well. If you're buying, if you go to Aldi, you get getting better value than if you go to Marks and Spencer's, probably for similar quality.
Yeah.
You know, so it's great if the Ings thing is just part of a process, but you also have to anticipate that Villa are in danger of competing with us for who can get relegated, so to speak. That they may not want to keep it quiet. They want to be able to say, we're saying no. They want to show that they're being bold and saying, you're going to have to pay for him, because it puts pressure back on us and so on. And it might just be part of a process where, as you said before, they've got the youngsters in the pipe, and he's the old hand in the pipe. But we won't know till the 1st of Feb, and that's the worrying thing. We could have this on the 1st of Feb, and what we've got now is what we've got.
And another 6 points will have gone by.
And another opportunity because of 2 games having gone. If you win both those games, astonishingly, you go, whoa!
Yeah, it looks different, doesn't it?
So it all stands and falls what happens on the green stuff. And that's the only objective, really, is to get points.
Yeah. And
if somebody's in the manager's ear... along the lines of, don't play like that because our fans won't like it. It might be true, but we hate losing a hell of a lot more. I'd rather win scruffy, miserable, boring, I fell asleep in my seat, but when I woke up it was 1-0 and we had 3 points, than the old Martinez stuff of, I'd rather lose 5-4 than win 1-0. No. I'll have the 1-0, thank you.
I think the fans, the manager could just come on and go, we've got to play. We've got to play the way we are.
Yeah.
Paddy,
it's not halfway through the season.
Exactly. Yet, so. Paddy, great call, mate. Thank you very much for getting in touch, mate.
Can I just
go on, mate. Go on.
Yeah. You, Ped John, keep up the great work with Toffee TV.
Thanks, mate.
It's always a pleasure watching you, and I don't know how you always manage to make entertaining shows, despite the dross you're having to report on.
Thank you very much, Paddy. Appreciate that, mate.
Okay, cheers, lads.
All right, take care, Pad. Ta-ra, mate. Ta-ra. Lloyd says Danny Ings will score goals. Simple as that. What do we expect? No, the fear with the Danny Ings thing, Lloyd, is do we create the right kind of chances for him? Is he another 30-plus-year-old coming in who's at the wrong end of his career and we're not going to make any kind of creativity for him? Can he play up front if Dom's not playing on his own and be a nuisance? Do I think he can score goals if you create chances? Absolutely. Absolutely he can, but that's where the worry comes. We just we're not really creating that, are we? Someone said he'll probably go to Forest anyway. Probably will, because Forest are still trying to buy another 15 people. Who've we got next, Ned? Martin, are you there?
You all right, Baz?
Hello, mate.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, mate. What do you want to say, mate?
Okay, great programme, by the way.
Cheers, mate.
Just what I want to say is I'm living in a place called Deal in Kent.
Right.
Check that one out.
Okay.
Looking at Lampard, he hasn't got the technical ability to be a Premier League manager. I watch him, and he's got all his mates behind him, and God knows what they're doing, and God knows what they're looking at. They're looking at a different game I'm looking at. When he went to City, and I knew on the Friday night they were going to City, be 5, flood the midfield, lone striker, taking chances. He did it, Baz.
Yeah.
It worked a wonder.
It did.
I then said to our kid, go to Goodison Park, be a bit tight. We all love to see us attacking football, but Brighton are a hard team. I thought, do the same again. What does he do? He goes back to his 4-3-3. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's got lads in that team are not fit enough to wear that shirt, mate. Not fit enough. And unfortunately, I'm sick and tired of the merry-go-round. Sacking managers. Sacking managers. Then we have to outlay and pay their wages and all these Clooney's. So you're talking a lot of money. What the lads are saying on there, sack the board. That's where the problem is.
Yeah.
We can't do where we are, mate. We can't. We are stuck where we are.
Yeah.
We need to go out. He needs... I would like, if I was one of the part of the board, I would say, listen, that Paul Clement, he's gone. That other fella, he's gone. This fella's coming in. He's got his technical knowledge. He'll work behind you. He will tell you to change that team, when to change it. Like the champs did in the World Cup final. Do you see that? He took Giroud off and the other fella before the end of the first half. He had the balls to do that. This fella will sit on it. And you know what? It's just, sorry for swearing, I do apologize. It just really annoys me. He's killing a great club. That's all I'm saying. He's killing it.
I think.
And it's
go on.
For years, but sorry, mate.
No. But listen. No issue with anything you've said there, to be fair, mate. Absolutely. Your opinion, no issue with any of it. I think you're right. There needs to be change. I think what John was saying before is correct. I don't think this board's just going to walk out the door right now unless all of them showed some balls that to say, right, I'm gone. I've had enough and I'm going. I don't think that's going to happen, particularly people with contracts and want money and enjoying how much money they're on. So that's a difficult one. But it doesn't mean that change can't be affected and say, by the end of the season, A, B and C are leaving Everton's board. No issue with that. That would certainly change the way the fans feel, because the fans would go, all right, I understand they're not going now, but they're going at the end of the season, light at the end of the tunnel, whatever. The problem you've at Everton is, and this is just how I see it, I don't know whether John sees it or other people may see it totally different, is while certain people are at that football club, there is a negative viewpoint on the football club from people. They're a distraction.
It's the right magnet when we talked about it the other day.
Right, yeah. They're a magnet or a distraction, regardless of whether they're good, bad, indifferent. They're a distraction. One of them, I honestly don't understand why the chairman still wants to put himself at that age through this. No. He could be a life president or whatever on a match. They still come the game step. I don't understand at that age with his health issues. He's just had his eye stuff thing, something with his eye. I don't understand why he would put himself through this at that age. The CEO, it's a different thing. Whether we think she's good, I don't know enough to know whether she's good. But what I do know is my football club loses a lot of money each year. So me and John have said this before. The first thing they should have done, it's too late now, too late for a lot of people. The tide's gone now. But they should have brought people in to strengthen that board. Non-exec directors, get as much people round the table as you can. How do we change this? But because that would have said to the fan base, we are actually trying to do something here. We really are. We haven't just gone, oh, we've marked our own homework and I'm great. I'm the best CEO there is, or I'm the best this fella or that fella or this woman or that woman. And that's where it is now. And for me and for a lot of people, I think now, maybe it's too late now. And therefore, if Everton did turn around, Farhad Moshiri did listen to fan protest, and there's one at the Southampton game. It was supposed to be Arsenal. It's now going to take place at the Southampton game. I'm sure there'll be more information on that one. If Farhad Moshiri went, oh, something's going on here, and I need to act. They could do exactly what you said. Say, right, we are going to change the board. We can't do it right now because we haven't got the people who I need to identify to come in. These will leave at the end of the season. I think people will go sound. Go on, mate. It's your call. Sorry.
No, I know there's loads of people waiting. And what I was going to, what I would do, we're away to United on Friday.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's going to ruin my weekend because I can't, no offence to my United supporters, but I can't stand them. End of. However, them 9,000 Evertonians don't want to turn up for that game 20 minutes late. Have that away end empty when the TV camera's there. Yeah. That's how you do it. You make that statement and then you do it again at the Southampton game. But the unfortunate downside is everyone's got to pay their money to get the ticket and they're going to miss the game. Because that's what they're like. And they're making money. We're a cash cow for these people. Sorry for interrupting you, lads.
No, it's your call. It's your call. Listen, you're absolutely right. Peds mentioned something like this today anyway, about, if you really wanted to make a huge statement. Imagine, again, it's hard because we all sit in and go, I've got my season ticket, I want to go to the match. But just imagine Everton jogging out in that Southampton game and there's like 5,000 people there or 10,000 maximum because people have gone, enough is enough. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do.
Play better without a crowd.
They probably would. They probably win 3-0 actually. We were all right in lockdown. Away though, not at Goodison. But I just mean, imagine what that would attract. I remember the other lot walking out after 77 minutes because of the prices and all that. It got a lot of traction. That might send a clear message. I just don't think enough people do that because I think people go, I need to support my football club. So what you're saying is absolutely right. I just don't know whether that will go on. But listen, it is heartbreaking, isn't it, almost, because we're seeing no progress anywhere. And it's so frustrating.
That Wolves game was pathetic.
Yeah.
Sorry, that just screamed me Crimbo, that. And then I was dreading going to City. I thought it was going to ruin my New Year. We got something out and I couldn't believe it. And then that last night.
Yeah.
What was going
Worst
on?
in a
Anyway, I'm
long,
going to go and
long
leave you
time.
in peace.
Grim, innit? It is grim, and we're stupid in some way because we keep spending more and more money watching them. It's like imagine going to see a play every week. You knew was crap and wasn't getting any better, and you still go back and you go, oh, we'll have another season ticket to watch it next year. If they've got this, they might get a new actor in who's great, and the actor's worse. The actor just walks around in a circle on the stage because he keeps forgetting his lines. It is mad, and they've got us by the short and curlies, really, because we're emotionally in, aren't we? We're emotionally invested in them, and we can't walk away. And that's why I say, imagine John's here. Imagine me saying to John, don't go to Old Trafford on Friday. Show he couldn't. He'd be like, I've got to go. And that, unfortunately, that's where they've got us. We all have that emotional pull.
But that apparent weakness, right, which I'll summarise as we're in here for the long haul, which is till the day I die.
Yeah.
We can play a long game, you know, and the long game is, this is our football club, and this is what we expect. And if you're in a position of influence and you don't do what we expect, we'll run you out of town. Can
I just to finish before we let them go here? Can I just ask you, John? This is that. Do you think that's like a? Do you think that's like an acceptable thing for us to do? Not to
as
go
a fan base.
Yeah, to go. This is our football club, and you might come in as a CEO, and you might be gone in 3 years,
or
an owner, or a chairman, or a player, or whatever.
They're all transient.
But if we're not going after you and doing things and slagging you off and threatening or any of that kind of stuff, but what we're saying is, this is our club, and we support it, and you're running it the wrong way. So as long as the protests are peaceful, as in, you know, we're showing our discontent for it, is that acceptable?
It's all about the
football club?
Yeah, and perhaps not for now. We'll be doing the biz stuff tomorrow, will we?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we'll touch on it then.
Okay.
But it's about the subtlety of the messaging.
Yeah.
Okay, because fundamentally what we're talking about is change management, and we, the fans, want change.
Yeah.
And for all the campaigns that sprout up, whether the names change this week, next week, last week, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's fundamentally about we want change. Now, as soon as you get into the danger points for stimulating change in if you like, in a popular sort of way, then every time you go and get rid of Ken Wright, there'll be some people who like him.
Yeah, of course they will.
Okay, or get rid of this person, get whatever.
Yeah.
But if actually what you do is have messaging which might result in that, but actually what you're saying is what good looks like.
Yeah.
You know? Then of course that's okay. You know, we think this is what you should be doing, and some of these things are very easy for you to do. If you don't do them, we're going to object.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you could take that as a threat if you want, or you can take it as feedback. Okay. And feedback is the greatest thing in the world, because you get to choose whether you accept it or not.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But I tell you what you're good at, I tell you what you're bad at. Hopefully you listen to both, you try and be impartial about it, and you try and act on ways to improve.
Yeah.
And one of the things we as a fan base could do, and again, some of this is too late now, but too late for addressing the challenges we have, not right now, but not too late overall.
Forward,
this goddamn football club needs to engage with its fan base far better than it does. It thinks it does it well, you know. I don't think it does. Okay, and the silence is deafening type phrase, which I used before, and we talked about it in the past, is where's Kevin telling us what's going on? And you know, if the club are looking at this sort of thing, we don't want all the secrets laid out for all to see.
We just want a guide.
We want engagement, not communication, engagement. And frankly, no pun, right? If the football club over the last 5, 6, 7 years had engaged more effectively, we would not be this gap between the fans and the business. We still wouldn't be happy if we were underperforming, but you'd have channels to talk to people and so on. And you know, and it's all about walking the talk. You know, and I just think it's never too late to do the right thing.
No,
never too late. Right? It could always have been done sooner, but just because you didn't do it last week doesn't mean you can't do it today.
Yeah. Okay.
Martin,
Martin,
your question, mate, was fab.
Great question, mate. Thank you very much.
Take care, lad.
All right.
Take care, my friend.
Cheers, pal.
Take care.
Ta-ra, mate. Just before we move on, Ricky Kane on the super chat. Thank you. Ricky says the Toffee TV therapy sessions are keeping me sane. Yeah.
Well, you're working social care.
Yeah. No. Oh, my God. Toffee Dan says spot on about the engagement, John.
Thank you.
Yeah. There you go. God, let's not get Martinez back, please. We have got Astro, I think. The man. We haven't heard from him. He's been a bit quiet, but it is good to speak to him. Nick, are you there? Nick?
Big build-up. Come on,
There
Nick.
was a big build-up then. Where is he, Ned? Nick? Astro, where are you?
He's making a coffee.
No, okay. Ned, you get him back and then tell me when he's here. Yeah, it is engagement, needs to improve. Luke Jeffer says, reckon Dom would be fit if we made him a song. Don't know.
He's fit now, isn't he?
He's getting there, isn't he? Yeah. I felt a bit sorry for him last night. And
yeah, he
certainly
made a lot of runs for no good reason.
Just don't give him the ball.
That's right.
It's strange, but there you go. Luke says some club call list, by the way, hot. Martin Armstrong says, what gets me, lads, is the fans turned up in droves last season to Finch Farm match days and made the atmosphere at Goodison immense. In return, we get nothing from the club whatsoever, and this year and now we're worse off. It's like a kick in the teeth to us as a fan base. It's ripping me to bits, this football club. It is mad, isn't it? The fans played a huge part last season. You know, I think the club do need to engage better with all of us, really. Astro, are you here? I think his connection's a bit dodgy. Oh, he's not the frog song. He's not with the frog chorus again, is he? Okay, let's just keep going. Matt Fredrickson says this can be a three-step approach. 1, find a board with deep pockets. 2, find an Alex Ferguson type of manager. And 3, get a balanced squad with hard-working players, experienced players together with young talents. I mean, that does sound like a good plan.
Well, that's
it's
the what.
A little bit difficult, more difficult to find the Alex Ferguson type manager, but there'll be people out there who you know, who could feel like they could do a job.
The hard part of that plan is how and when.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Blues says Dom is done,
right,
fellas. It's a shambles. He's our best striker and he can't strike a ball with his right foot. Never mind his left. Yeah, but he's a good target man. He's good in the air. Whether you replace him or not, you've got to find money to replace him. While you've got him, give him the right service, crosses, you know, things to go at. It's one of them. Astro, are you there?
He said it's a problem on his end.
Okay. Harry says, me and my granddad are coming down for the Southampton match. I beg we can just get it together, as we don't come down too often. We all beg, for your sake and ours, Harry,
you're lucky. Yeah.
That we do get it together somehow. Blake says we need a board reset. Yeah, well, we do, don't we? Sorry, I'm just trying to catch some of these. They just keep going quickly. I don't know what's happening with Nick at the moment. Robert says, just stop buying merchandise and food and drinks in the home games, then hit them in the pocket where it'll hurt. Interesting, Mon. Oh, go on. To break up the monotony of all this hardcore dance that has gotten to be.
Yeah. So listen to this.
Go on.
Right. Claudio Reyna. The old player.
Oh, yeah, Claudio Reyna. Yeah.
Sorry. No, his son's in the American team.
Yeah.
Well, he tried to blackmail the US soccer organisation by revealing details of something that had happened in the manager's past to basically get his son into the team, which led the manager
Greg Berhalter
to come out yesterday, revealed that when he was 18 he'd assaulted his now wife, and basically they split up for a while and then she reconciled and he went through all kinds of counselling when he was 18 and yeah, he basically tried to blackmail
with that. So Reyna wouldn't play for America again then, would he, if you were that, because that's...
How unbelievable is that?
Shocking.
That's scandalous, isn't it? Just to get him in the team. Yeah. I mean, that's That's a little bit much. A pint of beer says, why does Lampard get a free pass on criticism? I don't know whether that's us or someone else, but if you've been watching anything we've done today,
I think he's had a fair amount today.
I think he's had quite a bit of stuff today. He doesn't get a free pass. He gets anything but a free pass. Last night was on him. Changed a formation that worked at the weekend to go into something else, and we ended up getting destroyed, so that's on him. Darren says, anyone thought the club can't afford to sack Lampard? We could be stuck with him until he resigns. It'll cost a fortune to sack him and his backroom staff. So what do you do then? Do you keep, just because of that, does he stay? I'm not saying he should be sacked. I'm not saying he should be kept. I'm saying, do you keep him just because of that?
If you no, you don't keep him just for that, because I'm sure you do the sums that say if another manager's more likely to avoid relegation than he is, then that funds him going anyway. I think a bit like I've been saying all day, I suppose, that it's the manager's job to extract the best he can from the players, and that's the measure. It's those people he works for to extract the best from him. He needs help, doesn't he? He clearly needs help. If he's got a load of yes men round him, then his boss shouldn't be a yes man. And let's assume that's Kevin. Right. So Kev, get him performing better. And if you like, if I'm Kevin, it goes back before, I want to be completely conscience free before I bullet you. Because
you want to give him the best chance.
Give him the best chance.
Absolutely.
Not hey lads, you've got 2 games. You know, that's not giving someone the best chance, is it?
But then 1 win in 11 is worrying.
No, you're right, dead man walking type stuff. But you always bounce into, well, who are you going to bring in then?
Yeah, you've got then this is where the plan is,
and that's when some of the politics get involved then, because the man who has the final say, one assumes, is Farhad Mashiri, you know, and very few people talk to him. Very few people.
It's worrying,
and they'll all have an axe to grind about who they do or don't want.
Dylan says, people blaming the board. What will sacking the board do for the rest of our season? We should be focusing on staying up this season. Then in the hang on. Then in the summer, wash the entire club of the day. Well, that's what, to be honest, Dylan, that's what John said before. If you're gonna do that, you know, this month, make sure we get what we need and start trying to get some points on the board. There's nothing wrong with making that decision and then saying this is going to take place towards the end of the season. We're going to start replacing the board or whatever. That means you can replace the board, but you're doing it when the football kind of stops. But you've got to start that process earlier, haven't you? So I don't think you can have a pop at people, Dylan, for saying they want the board out, can you? Really, this isn't as if Everton have been tremendous for years and we've had 2 bad seasons, so everyone wants massive change. We're in the 28th year that we haven't won a trophy for. Now, that isn't, don't get me wrong, that isn't the be-all and end-all. It is, because football, you want to win. That's the whole point of it. But what I mean is, if Everton was 6th and 7th every year, do you think people would be having this conversation? I don't think so.
And that,
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's curious, isn't it? If you look at the accusations that may go against board members, if they don't want to leave, they want to keep playing with it, all that sort of stuff. The best way to achieve that is to have on-field success that is at or above the threshold that the fans think is fair. So this season, that would have been top half, I guess. So we're top half. No one's saying sack the board.
I think, John,
the board aren't any better
as
a consequence.
No.
But what they've done is that they've enabled the manager, or in their sense, they've enabled the director of football to do a good enough job, and in turn has enabled the manager to do a good enough job, and therefore in turn has enabled the players to do a good enough job. Lest we forget, when people start singing sack the board, there's only 4 of them. Right, one of them's Graham Sharp and the other one's Grant Ingalls, you know, he's a finance guy. I don't think many people think it's their fault. So actually it does narrow down to a very personal, the chairman and the chief exec, but they are the 2 most senior. So they're the ones with the power and the authority to make that board stronger. And if they don't make it stronger, somebody else should.
Yeah. No, listen, I think...
And that's not being horrible to individuals,
no, it's not
by
being
the way.
horrible. I've said before, is that, you know, when people
a hard world
when
out
people
there,
are talking about the board, everything's evidence-based. If Everton don't lose hundreds of millions a year, then fine, you start going, they're doing a better job. If Everton's board had turned around and gone, you know what, we've said this before, but we're bringing 4 non-exec directors in to help us. So when we sit down every month as a board, there's 8 of us now instead of 4.
And at least 4 will ask questions.
And 4 will ask questions and challenge and give new ideas. And then the fans will go, you know what, it looks like they are trying to do things differently. That's the kind of thing that I wanted to see. Rather than just going, sack. Let's see if we could have made it bigger, but we haven't.
Well, this is what we've talked about on the sofa.
Exactly. So
let's make the board better.
Yeah, you know, and eventually that does mean a new board, but they could have tried to help themselves by making it bigger. They haven't done. The same as the evidence is in front of us on the pitch. What we've bought hasn't been good enough. The recruitment hasn't been good enough.
So you hold to account the people who made those decisions, which you hope are the manager and the director of football.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, it doesn't seem difficult. Dominic Tedesco's been mentioned. He's a good manager. Whether Everton would ever think about that, yeah, I don't know.
Where's Nick?
I don't know. Is Astro gone?
Yeah,
he's gone. Steve, go on. Well, tell me then if he's there. Steve, are you there?
I am here.
Hello, Steve. How are you, mate?
How is it in the Wirral? Still raining?
Yeah, I made the same old.
Is it still raining?
Go on, mate. What's your point? You're the last caller, so go on. What's your point, big man?
Listen to the whole show. Good show, lads, and everything you have said is spot on in regards to the club and what's going on at the moment. And it feels like we have the same conversation every season, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. It's an annual event now, Steve.
Yeah, it is, and the same issues which are ongoing. And after last night's game, just picking up on last night's game, I just feel like every time I watch Everton at Goodison, the away teams have the easiest game ever when they come to Goodison. I watch Everton when they go away from home on the telly and think we make life so hard when we go away from home. It's just, I just think last night, I think you're seeing the difference between a very, 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 very good coach and a very inexperienced average coach, sadly. And I know I like Frank Lampard. I think I've said it to Baz many times. He's a nice bloke. Yeah. Met him once as well. And a lot of good things. And it's sad because you want him to do well, but sometimes, sadly, the players let the manager down, and the manager's probably not performing to the best of his ability. And there's only I look at it from my point of view now and see it as only one thing is going to happen to Frank Lampard, sadly. And that you're seeing more reports now of other managers already being mentioned. I do get the impression that, I don't know what you two would think, obviously we've got Southampton at home next Saturday. Do you imagine that board members or the club would, or Kevin Felwell, you'd hope it would be his decision anyway, that they are looking at other managers or even approaching other managers now? To be in charge for potentially the Southampton.
For the Southampton, I honestly don't know, mate. I don't know. I don't know. It's the reality, Steve, because I just think I can only go on. I keep talking about evidence today, and every other time we've replaced a manager, it's gone. I mean, it's gone on and on and on.
Too long.
It's too long. So, if you were thinking that everything's improved and Kevin Thelwell's got a handle on all this, then you would assume that Everton have got a list and Everton are going, just in case, this is who we would target.
That's called a planning.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, John, what's
Listen, it's difficult for me because in many respects, when I work for people or work for a living and all that, best practice was the objective, and best practice would have succession planning. And succession planning would say, who will be a short-term replacement. So that might be something extraordinary happens, a bit like Ancelotti. By the way, I'm off. Yeah. And therefore, you couldn't have anticipated that, but you've got someone who who's going to take over. Yeah. Now, in the days of whether you like him, love him, whatever, but the days when people like Unsworth and Ferguson were around, that might be your short-term successor. Not, the interim type thing.
Yeah, interim.
If you're doing it to a plan. This guy's on a 3-year contract. What happens if he doesn't want to renew? What happens if we don't want him to renew, but we do expect him to last 3 years? Then we would be looking at managers who would come in 3 years' time, wouldn't we?
Yeah,
or in this case, another year and a half or something.
Yeah.
Okay. If they're not doing anything approaching that, and I'm astonished if they're not or haven't, because if anything, Kevin is seen by me as an administrator, a process-orientated sort of guy. Frankly, I think more of a technical director than a sporting director, so maybe doesn't have the business acumen type stuff, which would start explaining why Bill has to be around because he's got the contacts and all that sort of thing. Then you have to think they've at least followed the process of planning for it. If that's the case, you run your scenario, and you had 6 weeks to think about it. You know, the silver lining thing is we were so appalling in the last 2 or 3 games before the World Cup break. That should have been a light going on. Says, what if?
Yeah.
What if when we come back after the World Cup, that sort of performance persists? Well, we will change the manager then. Maybe. I think and if you say we change the manager, that's the what. You figure the when, which is part of the who. You know. So you've got the what, and then the who or the how, and the when. And I think that's where we're at, Steve. If they're going to succumb to media pressure, and I think you have to let it wash over you that all these managers are being linked because the journalists are producing copy. It's based on an assumption the manager's going to get sacked, and therefore they'll look at everybody who they think may be somebody who could come in. And then that turns into, of course, betting companies putting odds on things and so on. But none of that is necessarily real. And a business or a football club, our football club, which never communicates what it's doing, means that there's a void there to be filled, and it's getting filled.
I think also with Kevin Felwell, what people have to remember is he's got no loyalty to Frank Lampard. He didn't appoint.
Yeah, he arrived a month later or weeks later, whatever. Yeah.
He didn't appoint Frank Lampard. That's where I would worry now for Frank, if I'm honest, because
it's not his mistake. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And he will look at it from his own job's point of view now and think, if I'm letting a manager continue to carry on lose games and continue to, let's be honest, last night he got it horribly wrong. Horribly wrong.
Yeah, he did.
From his point, his job is to make sure that the team and the football club are doing what they're doing on the pitch. I know Frank Lampard is the manager, but like John just said there, Kevin Felwell is the administrator up to Frank Lampard. So any decision he makes is for the best of the football team. And at the moment, from my point of view, I just think, what's it been now, 11 months as manager? You look around the squad, bar Iwobi, but which, I'll be honest with you, the last month I think he's been terrible, to be honest with you. And I think, who's he really improved as a player? And again, it comes back to that. And from my point of view, can we go into another transfer window where we can't wait till the last day of the transfer window again? We can't do that.
No.
And with no offence, mercenaries like Dele Alli and players like that who have just rinsed us for money, really, and now in Turkey and can't even get a game in Turkey. Couldn't even get a game in a poor Tottenham team at the time. They were at the time, let's be honest, I think they were like 8th or 9th in the league, and the minute they went up. But from my point of view, I just think the whole club, when Ancelotti was appointed as Everton manager, that should have been the complete. Let's be honest, Carlo shouldn't have been appointed. The reset was that window where we decided to go and spend 25 million, 20 million on Decore, 20 million on Allen, getting hammered on £10 million a year wages nearly. That was the year for the reset for the club, and the club didn't. The club tried to act like a Champions League club when they weren't. And reality is that summer should have been the summer to go and get 4 players. Go and get 6 players. 4 of them who had resaleable options, and we didn't. We went and got 3 players who now we will lose up to nearly £50 million on, because Decore will probably go for 3-4 million. Allen's gone for nothing, and James went for nothing. So what was the point?
There wasn't any, Steve. I haven't got anything. I've got nothing to add. No, you're right. I've just got nothing really to add, mate. It's just, it's grim.
I remember a number of years ago, a company wanted me to go and join them. And the group chief executive was very, very keen, and we started planning and all that sort of stuff. And then I went for a meeting with him. Said, "Ain't gonna happen, John."
Mm.
Right? He said because non-executive directors have all listened to one of them, and if I've got all my non-execs going against what I want to do, and it's not about you personally, it's about what I want to do. Then I can't do it. And he was so apologetic, and months and yonks later, he was still saying to me, "It's my fault for not controlling them."
Right.
He took his eye off the ball.
Yeah.
And the reality is, Steve, everything you just said is spot on. And all that happened at a time when the owner was interfering. And when you talk, just bear with me, mate. When you talk about a reset opportunity, the people who are running the business in that moment need to control the owner.
Yeah.
But they have to play win-lose with that, don't they? Yeah. They have to risk their own job to get him in line. And once you allow people to meddle, they can meddle forever. That's the problem, you know. So
I just think a strong board stands up to the owner sometimes.
That's exactly what I'm saying. They should have done.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they have now, and that's why he doesn't interfere. Or maybe other people are right, and he's just lost interest. Or maybe the answer is somewhere in between. But this last summer, we still bought 2 players we didn't need for too much money, and they're going to be a drag on the business for a while.
Well, it's basically it's the reason we are where we are now due to that.
So we're repeating the mistakes of the past when the owner is not apparently interfering. You know, so maybe it wasn't all his fault either before. Who knows?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Nice one, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. Cheered me up no end, mate. Thank you.
See you later. There you go, Steve. Kelly there, Toffee TV's very own, and the fans forum. Ned, are you doing the podcast with them tomorrow?
Yeah.
Make sure to check out the Premier podcast over on Toffee TV Premier. What's that, Ned? Yeah, check out the 1878 podcast that we did earlier with me, Baz, Dave Vitti, and Andy Bush. So Frank Lampard is doing the press conference tomorrow. That has been confirmed. Obviously, there's been a lot of rumours today about him, but he's doing the press conference tomorrow.
What time?
I'm not entirely sure. I think it might be in the afternoon, 1:30, is it? Yeah, because we are. I'm hoping. I won't say any more, but I'm hoping to have one of the journalists who's there in the building
afterwards,
straight afterwards. But
That'd
he hasn't confirmed, so I won't say he is going to be here. But I'm hoping he will be. At the moment, I've just seen 2 different favourites. One is Wayne Rooney, and one is Sean Dyche. And the Sean Dyche has come from Don King. The Rooney one has come from a talking sporting radio station.
Both guessing, of course, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it'll all just be new. It'll all just be fed back, won't it? We know that. And ultimately, you know, if you pick those 2 fellas, Dyche is free, so that makes it very appealing. And he's managed, obviously, Burnley for years and in similar situations.
He might take a short term as well, mightn't he?
Yeah, and Wayne is...
Hands and knees, he'd come, wouldn't he?
Well, Wayne's in a situation where I imagine he's going back to DC to start pre-season, and I imagine he's probably got things in his contract for if any Premier League club coming for him that he wanted. So I imagine he could walk away at any point. So, but again,
rumours.
It's just rumours, and it's a process. And with Everton, what you'd love them to do if they were to sack Frank is like literally the next day. Almost what they tried to do with Martinez, where it was like the next day, we've got a manager. I know it didn't work with Martinez, and I think a lot of us are thankful for that. But if they were, you want someone in the next day. You don't want a protracted situation. You want a manager in if he was sacked, and then the players can follow very, very quickly. You don't want last day of the transfer window again, wasting another month. It's the last thing we want.
No, that's right.
So,
stick or twist.
Where have you sent me?
Just to WhatsApp, just the comments.
Oh, okay.
He was on the phone before, he couldn't get through.
Oh, well, he could get to. He's just his technology's not very good. Mike says the board's plan is survival quite clearly. Each season we need a
We need a coach who has experience in that, and that's not Lampard. If we wanted to progress up the league and build a team to play progressive football, then maybe stick with Lampard. But we as a club don't have those ambitions, so let's get a coach to fit in what we are looking to achieve, which is nothing but survival. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, but hang on, Mike. You've got a bias here. Because simple fact is, very much like that weirdo who walks around like Jurgen Klopp in town, you want to be the Sean Dyche weirdo. Let's get it right. You want to walk around going, oh lads, new Everton manager here. What you should do is get you and then get Gaz's voice in an ultimate Sean Dyche tribute act. There you go. How would you know what Sean Dyche sounds like? Shut up, Ned. Why? Because you do play a few gigs in Burnley.
He's not from Burnley.
No, but he was the manager
for a while.
For quite a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shut up, Ned. You know what you should study? Coming to work on time. Come to work on Ned. An hour late yesterday and an hour late today. It's shocking behaviour. Absolute shocking behaviour. Right, there we go. We're wrapping it up. Big thanks to John being here all day, like someone who works here for a living. Even brought us a nice camera, which we'll have a play with tomorrow and make it look.
When are you going to have your first 4-camera broadcast, or are you going to go to 3?
We don't need 4 cameras unless there's 3 of us on a show, John.
All right, so 3 then.
3 for our most of our normal
quality drop off.
Yeah, we don't want that. We've just bought a new camera. We want them all to look beautiful and nice. Unless we go and buy a 4th camera, that might be a bit overkill. Yeah, there you go. Make sure to check out the final word. We'll be doing the match preview tomorrow. We have had no time today. It's been chocker. We've had Sky in here. It's been absolutely chocker. So we will catch you all tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for everyone for calling. It's fantastic. I love it was like that every week. I wish it was positive and we had people calling up going, oh, we should be playing this formation because we're so good and we score so many goals and all that kind of thing. But we don't. So it's going to be an eventful the next few weeks, I imagine. Got it. This is the positive, though. Free weekend. No Everton.
Friday's the weekend.
Nah, it's not the weekend, John. You clearly don't work for a living if Friday's your weekend.
Weekend starts on a Thursday anyway.
Okay, well, there you go. Wednesday sometimes for you, John. There you go. Thank you for watching. See you later.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Take care.